We're here today in Norfolk, Virginia at Norfolk State. We're excited about the ecosystem that we're creating in the state of Virginia, particularly with our historically Black colleges and universities. Earlier this year, we were at Virginia State, and now today at Norfolk State, we are training teachers from across the Commonwealth, particularly those in elementary, middle, and high school STEM and math careers. Today, as we celebrate you as teachers, we love pouring in joy and knowledge and thinking all about the potential that you're bringing to your students.
TC Energy has been a tremendous partner with us, and I know this is important to them as they look at some of the emerging workforce needs that they have across the country. Knowing that they can have really meaningful experiences for math and science students who may become future employees is important to them. Knowing that they can help to fund a project like this, which is looking at how do we diversify the teacher workforce in these states so that they also reflect the students who will become future employees, hopefully, of TC Energy and companies across this entire area.
Hey, I'm Aaron Thompson with TC Energy. We were grateful to be here today with the National Math and Science Initiative to help support their work, specifically here with Virginia and beyond. And it's important that there's STEM education opportunities for each and every person across the region, and that's why it's important to be here today.
We had a distinguished panel of guests this morning. We had Dr. White, Dr. Ronald White from Norfolk State's Spartans Teach program. We had one of his students, one of his aspiring teaching students, as well as Dr. Kathleen Campbell from the National Center for Teacher Residencies. We invited them to talk about how do we retain Black teachers in STEM, what are some of the challenges that we face, and how should schools, districts, governments be able to support the retention of Black teachers, in particular in STEM.
I still remember all of the theorems and postulates, and that's been a long time ago. Two parallel lines cut by transversal alternate interior angles are congruent. That's from 10th grade. That lady taught me. On the panel today, it was a privilege to engage with so many wonderful math, science, and English teachers. It was just phenomenal from the beginning to the end. We talked about retaining and recruiting specifically Black teachers. The policy is that if you are a provisionally licensed teacher and you teach for 3 years, and if any one of your summative evaluations suggest that you need improvement, they will not renew your license. 1 year. Only 1 year. The first 2 years, everything was marked as effective. So those kinds of systematic policy barriers are what prevents us from retaining, good teachers.
They're going to be in groups of 7, and they're going to do each strategy from the CRE playbook. So each student or participant has a strategy from the playbook, and they're going to implement that tomorrow in their lesson.
The teacher is giving us the experience of a student and then switching that around and showing us how to formulate those struggles that we have in the class is making me a better teacher, a better administrator when I go back to my district.
When I think about retaining Black teachers or STEM teachers in particular, one key aspect is really thinking about what the environment is like when they go into schools. So is it welcoming? Is it inclusive? Is it just? And when I reflect on my own personal experience as a former kindergarten teacher, I can tell you that I myself have been the subject to microaggressions, and I'm still here today because I had a powerful cooperating teacher who became my mentor. And I don't know if I would have remained in education if it wasn't for her, but that's real.
So we are working on a lesson called Mountain Migration. So we'll be using topographic maps, and they will be measuring the distances between the different points on the map, showing how that is on a graph, and then coming up with ideas and conclusions about the land changing over time, the elevation, and the migration of people and animals at different times in the world.
The activities that we have done have been hands-on. We have actually played the role as a student where we are collaborating, we are explaining, we are getting different approaches from various teachers from various districts.
This has been a great experience. I welcome it to anybody that can take the time to get this conference. It's been great.
We have time for a couple of questions before we wrap up.
How can we really change those conversations so that teachers can actually be better ambassadors for their profession and not turn students away?
Years ago, when I was a community college professor, a student of mine wrote a couple of sentences that just said, "When I am old and gray, I will look back on my life and say I was one of the greats. I was a teacher." I have never forgotten what that student wrote. And I think it's important for us to realize the impact we actually have on every single child's life, because you don't ever know what they're going to remember from you, but there is a power teachers hold that sometimes we take for granted.